Tonight, in honor of the COVID-19 virus, we are making homemade pizza because that's what we do. We stay indoors, we make pizza. So I want to, for all the pizza lovers out there, I'm not a perfect pizza guy. This is not my wheelhouse, but I think I do a pretty good job. So what you want to do is have 24 hours so your pizza can set up. So these are the dough. You can take a look over here. Here's some of the dough that I've already made. But in order to make this dough, it's pretty simple. You want 1.5 cups of water, and then you want almost a full teaspoon of yeast. Just set her in there, let that work up. And then you want 2 teaspoons of salt right in there. Now give that about 10, swish it around. That's about 95 to 100 degrees, right in there, around 95. Just swish it around, that's 1.5 cups of water. Let that swish around, let that set up. And then I got 3 cups of flour, because this is where I start, and I mix it by hand. So I take 3 cups of flour and mix it by hand. And so we want to let that set up, let that yeast form, okay? Got that? And then we're gonna give that a few minutes, and I'm gonna mix it by hand in a few minutes, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're making the dough for tomorrow night. We're gonna have pizza here tomorrow night. How good is that, folks? Yeah! All right, so the next step, after we've had the yeast in here, kind of going for about 5 minutes, it's warming up. You got that 95-degree water with that yeast. We got 3 cups of flour, right in here. So we want to take this and we want to pour it in there, okay? And then we're going to just work it in. Some do it by hand. I like to take these little spatula things and just work it in with a spatula thing. That way you don't get your hands messy, and you just kind of work it around there to kind of work in the water with the flour. So you got the flour, the salt, the yeast. Kind of keep working that in. You start with 3 cups of flour, okay? So we get this worked in. And it takes a few minutes. Be patient, and you need to keep adding flour to it. So ultimately you're going to add about 4 cups of flour to the 1.5 cups of water. So you just need to figure out how much you need to get it to the right spot. So I've worked this in with the spatula here, and then I poured it out on a table. What I want to do is work in the remaining flour. So once I get this kind of worked in a little bit, then I go ahead. Here we got some wine over here for the people who want to drink a little wine. But we're gonna work this flour in. Your hands don't get sticky. That's kind of the way I look at it. So you keep working it so your hands stay pretty clean. And then when I get done, I want to put this in this Tupperware for about 20 minutes and let it rise, so you can see how the flour gets worked in. See how that works? Almost all that flour is gone. My hands are relatively clean. I'm going to put a little more in here because it's just a little wet yet. You just want to get it enough that it doesn't stick to your table. That's the way I do it. And again, if you're a pizza guy or a pizza gal, this isn't perfect. So now we get it to that spot. Then I get a little flour in here because it's going to sit in here about 20 minutes covered. So we want to just get enough flour in there. Okay, not perfect. Again, pop that in, a little flour over the top. Let it sit for 20 minutes. Covered, room temperature, and you're good to go. We'll go to you in the next steps. For 20 minutes, I just took it out, knead it for about 15-30 seconds, put a little flour on it, and then it's got to sit after you knead it for the first time. Just let it sit in there for a couple hours and let it do its thing. We'll come back in a couple hours and divide that up. There you go.